What's up, guys? I am excited to be on Pixie Dust's channel. This is a video that Pixie and I decided to come and talk about to do a collaboration for y'all. So the topic today is going to be theories on magic and how magic may actually work, or my understanding of it, Pixie's understanding of it, however this may affect our lives and how it impacts our personal lives. So kind of want to share with you guys, the audience, on how we interpret magic to work. So I'm excited to be here, Pixie. Thanks for letting me be on your channel. Thanks for
Of
doing
course.
another episode for the viewers.
Yeah. No, I'm happy to be here. I'm really glad that we could collaborate again. It's been like years. So we missed you on the Wealth Magic podcast too and everything. So but you're still a part of the journey, you're still a part of it. So yeah, but so magical theories. I know you had some really good ideas on this, and I think it's just kind of gonna be a conversation of us getting the ideas flowing and stuff. So I guess I'll kind of lead with this. I did have a subscriber comment on one of my videos recently the other day and talked to me, or well, not really talked to me, but he left a comment that said, asking like, so I subscribe to the energy, like energy part of magic and the psychological magic, and then asking if I also subscribe to like the spirit part of magic. And I do. But in that video that I was discussing, I was mostly talking about the energy and the psychological part. So I think that that being said, I think those are three good branches to kind of like go off of to dissect magic into, categorize magic into, and not the only ones perhaps, but it is energy work. It is a psychological thing, and it does involve spirit. And we could even go as far to say that some science is involved, like metaphysical. So I might have some cat interference here, but
You're familiar.
this is Bella. Okay, well, all right. Excuse me. I'm just gonna. Okay.
That's every good witch needs a cat.
Yeah, right. She's my familiar, exactly.
I have 3.
So she'll, yeah. She might make an appearance or several. So here we go. But yeah, would you like to start off on some of your ideas for what you were thinking about as far as magical theories?
Yeah, I would love to. But first, I kind of want to maybe give an explanation. A lot of people may be wondering where I've been the last 3 years. I've been around. I'm alive, obviously. Just chilling. I stopped doing much public YouTube stuff because I basically started doing YouTube for my work, and all of my energy, my time, and efforts have been focused on that. So I took a backseat on my personal YouTube channel. But yeah, like a lot of the magic that I had done has come to fruition. I remember you, me, and a couple other people from the Wealth Magic group. We went to Louisiana, and we had an awesome time there. 2018, 2019, something like 2019.
2019.
Yeah. New Orleans.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of stuff that happened between then and now. But back to the topic, right? There is a very interesting understanding that I had come to gain from doing magic, because to me, magic is not just some weird thing that you do and hope that a result happens. It's a specified set of instructions that you take, and you take this, which is called a ritual. You do this ritual for a specific outcome. And you mentioned energies, you mentioned like science and things like that, and I do believe it's all energetic. And of course, this is a theory. I'm not saying this is a fact. This is my interpretation. Energy is all around us. According to Isaac Newton's, one of his laws, energy cannot be created or destroyed, which means that this energy has existed since the beginning of time to the end of time. It's the same energy. It's out there. And if it's the same energy, that means it must be flowing through everything that we know. And so if the same energy is connecting all of us in some form or fashion, then could it be possible that a ritual that I take is actually influencing that energy to go in a very specified path, because that's what it does anyway. but this time I am channeling that energy towards a specific path, and that results in the outcome that I want, whether it's wealth, whether it's romance, or things like that. So that's kind of like where my
Right.
brain goes with the energy aspect of it. What do you think?
Yeah. I like that idea because it's like that whatever path you're directing it to already exists. You know, everything already exists at the same time, energetically, from an energetic level, but it's our perception, it's our where our awareness is. So I feel like magic, in a sense, is the ability or an ability to shift our awareness to a timeline, to a path that we want, but one that's already achievable for us. I mean, ultimately, we make how many choices in a day? You know,
Oh my
like
God.
I don't know. There's probably a number to that, but so many. You know, and every single choice that we make affects the potential outcome of our day and of the future. And I'm brushing my cat, by the way. That's what my hand is doing here.
It's a
Um,
choice.
and yeah, and so before I lose my train of thought, yeah, and so I feel like with like you said, whatever sort of magic, whether it's wealth magic, whether it's romance magic, whether it's whatever your goal is, you know, it's assisting in getting you on that path or opening that doorway maybe. And you know, I was reading Archangels of Magic last night, and there's one part in the book where Damon Brand talks about, you know, why isn't, like, is it, would some people consider it unfair? Like, why do I have access to magic and other people don't, you know? Um, and I think a lot of that part comes into the sort of psychological aspect of it, and as well as just the belief of it, you know. And I mean, what is a belief? Well, belief is a thought that you think over and over, and come to believe it. And I got that from Abraham Hicks. I can't say that I made that originally, but um, I mean, there has to be a belief that it's working too. And you know, I don't necessarily think that some people are like more fortunate than others to come across magic. You know, I think that it comes to the people who use it, or who can benefit to use it, to direct their lives. I mean, other people find other means of doing the same thing. You know, of some people can, you know, use another power that's not magical, you know, to get their lives, or maybe they are born with just a straight and narrow path that they want to go on. So I feel like I'm kind of getting off topic a little bit
Mhm.
now, or just kind of going on a rant. But you know, I think that, you know, magic is really just energy work, but and it's not guaranteed to work, you know. But there's enough results and success behind it that, and you know, that people practice it, that there's a reason that it was shunned, that it was bad, and that it's now like secret, and it works. I mean, it can work. And it is a power because we can make these choices to direct our life in any way it wants to go, any way, you know, whether it feels aligned with us or not. Like, that's up to us to decide.
Mm-hmm. So you bring up a very interesting question that I would like to keep my tinfoil hat off for a second, because you said,
Mm-hmm.
are some people more fortunate than others to discover magic? And
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that if you look at history, there has been a very coordinated effort to keep it out of the public's eyes. And why
Mm-hmm.
is that? I can't say something for certain, but just imagine if everybody had free access to the magic and they didn't believe it was evil, and they believed that fully with their whole heart and their whole brain that they can manifest what they want into the world through magic. Then would the people who are in control still be in control if everybody had access to this? So it would be in the best interest of the people in control to not have this freely available, and to make people think that it's evil and that they're going to hell for using it. And I mean, scriptures even acknowledge the existence of it. So
Mm-hmm.
that means it's a thing. Like, people know about this. But back to like the energy and awareness and things like that. When
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of mentioned timelines too. Here's my thought process, and I want to try to break it down in as simplest terms as possible from what I think. There's like this concept called quantum mechanics, quantum science, and things like that, which looks at how reality functions on an atomic, subatomic level. And there's been some studies done that determine that one subatomic particle can be entangled, meaning it is connected to another particle, intimately connected, and that could be universes away. It could be millions and millions of light years away. But if the original particle moves to the left, so does that attached particle also move to the left. So in that case, two things that are not close together can move simultaneously. Meaning, if I do a ritual for money, and money is an object in another place, and my energy is another object, hypothetically speaking, let's say my energy is connected to that money somehow, then I do the ritual and I move myself towards the money, and the money moves itself towards me. And I do this often enough over the course of 2 runs of wealth magic, which I've done. And along with many other choices that I make every single day to move myself closer to that reality, then is it really a surprise how it can actually work? Maybe, maybe not. Like, I don't know for a fact. Like, again, I don't want to say this as a fact, but that's how it works in my brain. And so another way I think about it is if there's parallel realities, if there's parallel universes, multiple millions, because you mentioned there's an undefinable, or there's a definable, but I can't name a number of how many choices I make. Like every single word that I just said so far, I could have replaced it with some other word and the message would be totally different. So that's just in one conversation. You could have either brushed your cat twice or you could brush it 3 times. And that's a different choice. So in a parallel universe, let's just say one out of the infinite number of parallel universes, I decided to stay in New York City instead of coming to Colorado. Then my future 10 years from that moment is basically branched. Like that one decision branched my future, but I'm making so many of these branches every single day. So if I do magic for a specific outcome, let's just say wealth magic again, then I'm tuning myself to the reality where I am wealthy. Because if there's a million or a billion different realities where my future 50 years from now, I could be wealthy in 10 of them. I could be dirt broke in 10 of them. I could be dead in 10 of them. Or I could be on Mars in like another 10 of them. Like, who knows? There could be all these other outcomes in 50 years. But I'm tuning myself to the one where my reality, my desired outcome exists. So I'm like tuning my antenna, my reality to that outcome. That's kind of how I interpret the timelines aspect of it.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and it has me thinking right now too about those, when you shift that energy. I've been on a whole like interest in past lives lately, and for a long time. I mean, not just lately. And they're just so peculiar. And I mean, I don't know much. There's not really many facts about it, except I think this is a fact that our DNA holds 14 generations of information within it. I don't really know how. I saw some like Instagram reel or something yesterday about that. But anyways, what I was thinking while you were saying that is like, and I wonder, when we are making those choices and aligning to a certain path, I wonder if it's like, if that's affecting our other lives, our past lives, our future lives, all the lives that we've lived, because then that goes back to the whole quantum entanglement that you were talking about with I go left, and me a million times goes left in all the other realities that I've existed in. And because everything's happening at the same time. And so I wonder, when we make these decisions, are we aligning with different lifetimes? Like, was I a magician in a past life, or was I a king in a past life? Was I like wealthy, or was I dirt broke, So like by remaining in like a scarcity mindset or something, am I aligning with like the lifetime too that I was like a beggar, or something? I mean, this is all just my thoughts. I don't know if any of this is true, but it seems to resonate to an extent, especially with what you're talking about. And And, and it's just kind of interesting. So it's like, in a way, the more in touch we can get, or the deeper we can go within ourselves and find out about our past lives, we can almost begin to see these like pathways of potential that we can align with. I mean, and the more that I learn about past lives too, it's like, what are, it's easy to identify them, easier than we think. Like what are you really interested in this lifetime, or what do you strongly dislike in this lifetime? Like those are indications of it occurring for you in a past lifetime. Like, are you really talented in one field? Well, maybe you've done this for 17 times before. Do you have a terrible fear of something? Maybe you've been afraid. Maybe you had a tragic accident of it in a past lifetime. Stuff like that. And so I wonder, by becoming aware of like I know, and it says too, I think in Wealth Magic, that it can affect other lifetimes too. And when I read that the first time, I was like, well, I want it now. I want it in this lifetime. Like, I don't care if it affects, because my awareness is here. Like, I'm not doing this to make myself rich in another lifetime, but I already am rich in another lifetime. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be on that path. Does that make sense? Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
And so, and like recently I had an awareness. I just moved to a state by the ocean, and I've always like felt really drawn to the ocean. Like, I love the ocean. And I recently was told by some psychic lady that I know that I had a past life. Because I asked her, I was like, what is this draw? Because I felt like maybe I was a sailor or something in a past life. And she was like, said that I was like a Viking leader or something. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. But before I really found that out, and before I moved to this state, I felt like I was getting in touch with this energy of myself, this like side of myself, this like strength and this like courage that I hadn't really tapped into before. And it sort of like would come to me when I thought of the ocean, or when I thought of like certain things. So tying this back into magic, it's like those little realizations, and then you have to believe in past lives in order for any of this to really resonate, in order for it to mean anything. And I believe in past lives. And so knowing that information, it's like, oh, well, I can draw on that energy. If I was a Viking leader, in a past life or something, maybe I can draw on that strength, because Vikings were like pretty badass. Like, actually, my high school mascot was a Viking. I have hats.
Cool.
So, yeah. And it's like we can draw on that strength in this lifetime too. And there's so much I could say, because it's like and those choices we make, like by moving to this state, did I sort of align with the energy of that lifetime too? And I did do some magic to get me here. Like, not anything crazy, but I honestly do too believe that this journey I've been on has been one of the results of wealth magic too. I mean, I wanted the money to be able to move where I wanted to move and have sort of like a financial freedom I hadn't had before. And it's, not all the results have manifested, but just something Bella's here again, just something to think about. And oh, okay. And like, has Bella been a cat before? I feel like she has been a cat. You could even, because animals are energy too. I'm getting real deep with this now, I guess. And why is it that cats have 9 lives? Do they really? Is that really how many times you incarnate as a cat? Because I had a cat before her named Kit Kat. Was it Bella? Hi, baby. Was it you? So, okay, yeah. I'm done. Off my soapbox there. But
man, okay, you bring up so many topics I want to touch on there. It's awesome because first and foremost, the Viking thing. Your high school mascot was a Viking, and you were a Viking leader in your past life. Like, I've done a past life regression too, and on that Viking thing, I don't believe in any such thing as coincidence. There's a meaning to it, because there's so many coincidences that happen in my life that are statistically impossible to happen. Like, just impossible. Like, I'll give you an example. I was on my way with this guy that I just met. We were on our way to an AA meeting, and he
Mhm.
was new in town. So we're about to pass over some train tracks. And so he asked me, do I park before or after the train tracks? And at that exact same moment where he said train tracks, the song that was playing by Insane Clown Posse said train tracks at the
Mhm.
exact same time. I was like, bro, this is impossible, statistically impossible for this to happen. So I don't
That's
believe in
happened to me
coincidences.
before. Yeah.
I don't believe in coincidences. I think it's the way the universe is responding to whatever decisions and thoughts that I've been putting out there. It's like I'm transmitting something, the universe is sending something back, so I'm receiving that. And you're
Mhm.
talking about the past life. I've done a past life regression too, and I don't know if this was my last life or one of the last lives. I had a vision that I was royalty in England. I want to
Mhm.
say it was multiple lifetimes back
Mhm.
because it almost looked like the Victorian era. So, and I was a female in that lifetime. But I had a
Mhm.
dream one time where I was in a past life and I was a soldier for the US military. And I think
Mhm.
that was my most recent life.
Mhm.
And I was killed in battle, basically. I was a general or something. And
Mhm.
so, and then you mentioned the 14 genetic lifetime or
The
the
DNA,
DNA
yeah.
stores
14 generations.
14 generations. Okay. And I have some science that can actually back up what you just said in a weird way. There's a Japanese
Mhm.
scientist who did an experiment on water. And he basically took a glass of water and said something beautiful to it, like, I love you, you're amazing. Took another glass of water, said, I hate you, you're evil, you suck. Basically, things like that. And he froze both of them and examined both of them under a microscope. And the crystalline structure of the water droplets looked perfect and beautiful in the ones he said, I love you to, and the positive affirmations.
Mhm.
But the ones he cursed at looked all jagged and misshapen and things like that. So the life experience that I'm having, whether it's positive or negative, is being imprinted on the cells, on the molecular structure of the water in my body. And we're 70% water.
Mhm.
So the DNA must be also consisting of water. Let's just assume it's 70%. I'm not a biologist, so I don't know all that stuff. But
Mhm.
if it's 70% water, then the experience I'm having is imprinting on the water in my DNA, and that DNA is obviously being passed on to the next generation. And I've received 14 generations as well. So I
Mhm.
don't know if it's 14, but I can corroborate what you're saying with the
Mhm.
science that actually does exist. Like this study has been done. It's a Japanese scientist. Can't remember his name, but it wasn't done too long ago, like 30, 40 years ago. And
Mhm.
another thing is there was an experiment done, I believe, in Australia. And here is something that is going to blow people's minds. Like there's people that say that prayers don't work, um, but I would argue that it does. And the reason that I say that is because consciousness is so powerful that in whatever, probably Australia, something like that, they had a random number generator. It's a machine that either gave you a one or a zero every 30 seconds or every X amount of seconds. And after enough sequences, it's pretty much 50-50. Like it's a random number. And if you flip a coins enough times, it's going to be heads half the time, tails half the time. So this random number generator was there and they got a group of, I don't know how many people, and their consciousness, they all tuned their consciousness to a specific outcome. Whether it was one or zero, I'm not sure. But after a 30-minute session, they looked at the actual series of outcomes to see how many times have they been able to skew the results from 50-50 to a different direction. And turns out that they were with their consciousness alone. And this was not with any
Mhm.
prayer. This was not with any spells or rituals or anything like that. This was just simply thinking about the outcome as a group.
Mhm.
So if a group can just think about an outcome and affect a random number generator that is supposed to be 50-50, but they made it like 60-40, think about how powerful the actual rituals or prayers that we have might actually impact the reality around us. Of course,
Mhm.
then you have to start thinking about how much of a reality are we trying to move in order to get that outcome. Like if I'm
Mhm.
asking, for instance, for me to want to be able to go visit the next town over, that's a much easier task for the universe to make everything move together, all the energies to line up for me to go to the next town over is so much easier. Whereas if I'm asking for a flight ticket or to be able to go backpacking throughout all of Europe, that's a much bigger ask. So it's going to require more energy, and that's way more reality has to be shifted a little bit for me to get to that reality. So there's like, man, I think I'm going off on a tangent now, but
It's easy.
did I tie everything together in a way?
I think so. I'm still following, I think. But yeah. And read done. I don't want to cut you off, but
Yeah, no, I'm good. That's it.
Yeah. Man, so let's see. There's something that I was just thinking, but I mean, I feel like, okay, back to the power of prayer. I think that's totally, I believe prayer works too. And I've been listening lately. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with Bashar. I don't know if you're familiar with Bashar, but basically it's this galactic energy that is channeled by some people, sort of similar to like Seth Speaks, if you've heard of Seth Speaks, or even Abraham Hicks, like Esther Hicks. Do you know Esther Hicks?
I know of the Hicks, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and how she like channels like a collective consciousness that's Abraham Hicks. Well, anyways, I've been listening to this one Bashar lately, and he was saying that like places like Sedona, Arizona, and the places in the world that are considered really like holy or really spiritual or really sacred aren't that way on their own. It's the human consciousness, the collective consciousness, and the beliefs that we go there and the experiences that we have that make it that way. So it kind of, I was thinking about that when you were talking about the prayer experiment and how the similar thoughts, more strength in numbers, right? Strength in thoughts, like it sort of creates this energy. And I was talking to, I can't remember what I was. Oh, there's a book, Seth Speaks, an audiobook, which if you haven't heard of that or read it or listened to it, there's an audiobook on YouTube. It's pretty long, but it's fascinating, and you listen to it. I was listening to it and I was like, man, we forget so much when we incarnate here. Like, wow, if, it's like a resonating on this weird truth that like, I can't even fully comprehend, but I think it was in this book where in one part they're talking about how, like when you die or when you're a soul, before or after this lifetime, like we are creators in there and here, but it's so much easier to create in a different frequency, in a different like dimension, like because our thoughts can just like create it, and I don't know, I mean, and however it does, but here we're working with denser frequencies, like this density, and so these other frequencies have to align in order for it to be created physically. But the stronger that thought is and the stronger that belief is, and the more sort of energy we put towards it in this world, the more we can manifest physically. So how does this tie into magic? Well, magic is part of that energy work that we can get to manifest these energetic things that we want to see physically. And not all of the results of magic are just physical material items. I mean, some of it is internal work, some of it is like relationships. It's not all like I want a house and a car. I mean, but it helps, and so there is a sort of assistance spiritually as well. Kind of going back to like the prayer thing, and then like the spirit aspect of magic, because I wonder, and these are all, it's so hard because these are all just theories, it's not fact, but not fact yet anyways. I wonder if like on the other side, like when people hear these prayers, or when it's not people, but when spirits hear these prayers, or when whatever energy on the other side hears these prayers, or they're loud enough to be heard, is there something on the other side sort of working in our favor, like spirit guides or ancestors working in our favor to help us make that happen, you know? And um and so I did a YouTube video on this. I had sort of like I've had an out of body experience, which I also consider like a near death experience, and it really changed my perspective on just life, and life after death, and it was crazy because you can see life as it is. Like I could be in my room right now as a spirit and not be seen by myself, and I mean, if you believe in ghosts, like obviously, yeah, that's usually how ghosts are. Like they're in the room but you can't see them, but they have more of an effect on it than we think. So when we call on spirits and entities or whatever, genies, archangels, angels, demons, even, um it's an assistance of energy, and but it's also spiritual, or this is so hard to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how people learned that, like, this demon can help you with this stuff, or this angel can help you with this stuff. Like, how did
Mm-hmm.
they figure that out? I don't know.
Yeah.
Was that like divine intervention? Like, was that just a download that they received?
I'm
But
telling
it
you,
was
there's got to
what?
be a coordinated effort to keep that information away from us. Like somehow people knew this back then.
Right. I mean, this is ancient stuff, ancient
Yeah.
texts. Like, none of this is new,
Mm-mm.
and I don't know. I mean, it's a power that we so many people don't know that we have, and so many people. I feel like I hope the people that actually listen to this aren't like. I hope you're following, because I feel like we're just kind of talking about all sorts of things here. But I feel like, what was I gonna say? Just when you do, when you, what was I gonna say? When we call on these spirits or these entities to help us, um, like they're there the whole time. It's like, I don't know. I kind of lose my train of thought. Let me come
Yeah.
back to this one, but
Yeah. Let me chime in on this, because what you were talking about with our energies being sent to a different place, there's the spirits that are already in that dimension or whatever it is, that area of existence, that are there, and we are on a physical density, meaning like things that I can touch, basically. Like my hand doesn't go through because it's physical, it's material. It's a much denser frequency than the spiritual or the energetic plane, where things are not material, they're just energy. And I'm gonna go off on a different tangent. I know we've already gone on so many already, and hopefully the viewers are listening, are able to follow along. I think they will be, because this is all theoretical.
the right ones
But
will, yeah.
yes, so there's this guy named Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer, and this is about UFOs. He's done a lot of research onto extraterrestrials and things like that. And if you think about, let's just assume that aliens exist, and if they do exist, they're not in our galaxy, they're in a different galaxy. Then to get over here would take so much time that any living organism would decompose by the time it gets here, unless they're able to live for millions and millions of years, because it takes millions of light years to get here. So what they do instead, according to the deconstructed technology from alien spacecrafts, what they actually do is they translocate by going into another dimension and then coming out here. And the energy that they use is from that energetic plane. And that's the fuel that they use to get here. And that's very interesting, because their spacecrafts are also controlled by consciousness. And again, my tinfoil hat's crazy right now. I know I'm sounding probably like a mind-blown lunatic, but I try to say things that actually have a scientific basis behind them, not just like random stuff that I heard on the internet. Like, I've actually done a lot of research into this, and Dr. Stephen Greer is very credible. And so those consciousness, like if these other beings, they figured out that the power of consciousness is so powerful, and this kind of ties back to the whole thread of what we're talking about, is consciousness. Everything that we know and think about, that we put into the universe, is being repeated back to us. And these energies that we're sending it to the other dimension, we ask for the assistance of these spirits that exist on those planes to maybe ask their friends. So let's say I ask Archangel Michael for something, and Michael goes up to his friends and be like, "Hey, look, Arjuna asked for this. Let's go. Let's get to work. Let's put our heads together. Let's go out there, find the energy that exists already infinitely in this area, channel this energy, and send it back to Arjuna, and give him what he's looking for." So, man, we could probably talk for hours on this, but
I know. I know.
let's
Yeah, we
save
really
that for the
can.
next episode.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, we can make a series.
Mhm.
And you know, people, I was also, this also I think is said in the Archangels and Magic book I was reading last night, where he says that, you know, Damon Brand himself used to think of archangels as being some like spiritual beings that are just far away, that we can't get in contact with, you know, that they just want nothing to do with humans, and came to find out one way or another that that's just not true. You know, that they are here to assist us. And I mean, why would the archangels be mentioned biblically too if they weren't interacting with humans? I mean, I'm sure they're mentioned elsewhere. I'm sure there are other, obviously they're mentioned in other grimoires and stuff, but like there's proof of them interacting with humans. Otherwise, humans wouldn't even know that they exist. And you know, to what level like they help us out can be directed by us, you know, like decided by us, based on like how much of the energy and focus that we're showing them, you know, archangels for example. Man, we should, man, there's so many topics that we could go into with this. But I will state, I've also done a video on this years ago, which I could probably do another one because it's been a while and I could say more. But there's a book called Real Magic by Dean Radin or something, and he's also a doctor or PhD or something. And I remember the video I made. He would do these scientific experiments, testing like about consciousness, related to consciousness, and seeing how and spirit, I think, to get magic to work. And basically came to believe that like there's power behind your intention and the attention that you are giving it, which is
Mhm.
still just energy, right? I
Mhm.
mean, it's still just consciousness. And then yesterday I was watching this video, and there's something called, I think it's a torsion field. Torsion
Mhm.
field? Yeah, and that's basically just like the field of energy that every human sort of radiates around us. We're just like walking energy beings.
Mhm.
And so, you know, if we have a field of energy around us, there's so much we could do with that. I mean, which
Mhm.
is also why we need to protect it, you know, which is
Mhm.
also why it's possible that things can cling on to it, you know, that parasitic energies can latch on to us, that it can be, you know, drained or fulfilled by people who, you know, are in alignment with you or not. But we can direct this energy too. Okay, I will. All right, this kind of goes. This is maybe a little bit more of like a life after death scenario, and I don't know. I mean, I think it's all kind of magic related. But there's a movie called What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. It's like probably my favorite movie, and he dies in it. Spoiler alert. And in the in heaven or wherever he goes, it's like you create, he goes wherever he creates, essentially, whatever he believes. And in Robert Monroe's books, I don't know if you're familiar with Robert Monroe, but there's like the Monroe Institute in Virginia.
Oh yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, he's really like, I don't know if he's still alive, but he has studied out of body travel and like journeyed
Mhm.
to the center of the universe, but not center of the universe, but and the Pixar movie Soul, the
Mhm.
Disney Pixar movie Soul, was based on his book Far Journeys, like a section of his
Mhm.
book Far Journeys. And like
I love
people
that
don't
movie.
know that. And the CIA's notes on the Gateway Project are based off of this man's books, not the other way around.
Yep.
Their notes are taken from his like experiments and his findings and stuff. And Oh, we could, man, I could go on a whole video about Robert Monroe. Maybe I'll do that separately. But my point being, what was my point with this? Oh my goodness, what was my point? Oh, wait. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay,
So
Robert Monroe.
out-of-body experiences have been around since the beginning of humans. We've all
Yeah.
been
Oh,
having them. We've been
okay.
having.
Soul.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So his thoughts are that, when we die or when we're out of body, there's this thing called belief life territories, belief systems, or belief territories. We essentially go where we believe that we go. So if I believe in heaven, I'm going to go to heaven, the heaven that I believe. If I believe in hell, I'm going to go to that self-created hell. If I believe in nothing, maybe I'll go into a blackness of nothing. When I had my out of body experience, the sort of near death experience, I remember seeing Jesus. I saw uh, Buddha. I saw Santa. I saw the Easter Bunny, and I saw like Ganesh. And those are all figures that I've come to believe in at one point in time in this lifetime.
Hmm.
And I can link that video in the description if people are interested. And so I kind of believe that I was in my belief life systems or whatever. And so again, how does all this tie back into magic? Well, we have that same ability in the physical reality, like what I believe and what I think becomes my reality. Like we are the creators of our reality, and the more I experience that on my own, the more I believe it, because I can be told that all day, but until you see the power that you have of that, like on our own, then it's just like, okay, yeah, like I'm the creator of my reality, but I still have to go to my 9 to 5 job every day. Like, no, you
Yeah.
don't. No, you don't. You're deciding to do that, and magic is such a thing that can help you to direct your path to somewhere else, to create a reality that you actually want to live in, want to go about. And man, and so it's just as above, so below, right? The law of correspondences.
Hmm.
And if that stuff can truly happen out there, then surely it can happen here. And all these secrets to the universe, all these secrets like unknown wisdoms and stuff. I don't know if this is fact. This I just heard throughout the internet, but multiple times, is that they have to, in the game of life, they have to put the handbook in obvious places, essentially. Like they have to put the answer key in obvious places, and like right in front of people, like a cult in plain sight, like all the and so many secrets being revealed in movies and stuff. Okay, now I feel like I'm getting a little on a tangent again, but like, I mean, it's and these the gallery of magic, I mean, I've experienced firsthand how this can work, and yeah, I believe that it works, but my belief only makes it stronger. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting a little carried away now with all this, but I mean, magic is just, it is an energy. It is energy work. It's an art form. It's an art form, truly, because
Hmm.
it's essentially helping us to create our reality, to be better creators. And we don't
Hmm.
create by ourselves. We co-create with magic. We co-create with the energies that magic can provide, with the spirits that magic can provide, with the opportunities that magic can provide. We're
Hmm.
only so powerful on our own, but we have a world to co-create with. And yeah, and magic is a very influential like form of that, very
Hmm.
powerful form of that. So,
Yeah.
well, that's all I have to say on that one.
That's a lot. So, man, I love what you said. Everything that you said is so cool and amazing. I know we
Thank
could talk
you.
for hours, but
I know.
I'd like to say something in closing so we don't
Yeah.
we can get our brains together for the next one.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
basically, over the past, how long have I been doing magic? I want to say 2016, 2015, 2016, but I knew about
Mm.
energy work and I've done some form or fashion of it since 2009, 2010. So, but ever since I started getting serious into 2016, I got to tell you, a lot of things that I've done magic for has come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And they just reinforce this belief, like you're saying, the belief, they compound on itself because when I do magic and I get the result from it, it certifies that it actually works. So when I do it the next time, it's way more confident and it works again. And it cements that as, yes, this actually works. So the results of every magic that I've done, and not just magic, but subliminals, the prayers, the actions and decisions, because it's not just all about magic, it's about actually taking the actions to get those as well. Like,
Yes.
it's allowed me to get to the point in life where, to be honest, I don't do much magic anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
probably do like one spell a year, one ritual a year. And this is since 2019. I'm married now. I got a house. I have a son, and so like my life is genuinely good, and the business that I work out is growing pretty well. So I gotta say, man, I'm really happy for everything magic has done. But I don't necessarily do magic, but I do a lot of thought and belief and energy transmission into the world. So man, again,
And
it's
that's the same thing, you know, just
hmm
same
yeah, it
thing,
is.
but calling it something else,
You're
essentially. I
right.
mean, yeah. You know, like law of attraction is magic, I feel like
Hmm.
conscious thought, yeah. So we kind of put magic in a box, but I feel like, excuse me, I feel like everything is not everything, but so
Hmm.
many things related to consciousness and thought are magic. Sorry, Bella keeps trying to chew on cords that she's
Hmm.
should not be chewing on. So,
That's a cat.
but yeah, I know. But yeah, we can definitely do another video going forward and everything. And just to ask, like when you started doing magic, did you know what you wanted for your life? Like, did you know you were going to be where you're at right now, like with a family, with a child? Is that what you wanted? Is that something you wanted, or is that a timeline you were reaching for? You know,
That's a good
or
question.
like, yeah.
Um, I've known from a very young age, obviously, that I wanted to be married, have kids. Like that's just what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
society. Society kind of programs people to want that. But I thought about that and I questioned everything. And yes, I did want that. So I questioned myself. Do I really want that? Yes, I do. Didn't know when it was going to happen, but yes, I did see myself having that. And I always knew that I was going to be wealthy. I didn't know how. I'm not necessarily wealthy right now, but I live comfortably. And
Mm-hmm.
that's to me is real wealth. Because you could be a millionaire and still live paycheck to paycheck. But
Mm-hmm.
I have the luxury now of not having to live paycheck to paycheck. Even though I don't, in the grand scheme of things, I don't make a crazy amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm somewhere in the middle class, upper middle class. And when I started all this, I was making 10, 12 bucks an hour, 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great, yeah, I saw myself doing this, but I didn't know the timeline. And I know I'm not
Yeah.
done, nowhere near done, because there's still a lot more to be done as well.
Right. Yeah. And we never know the timeline, you know, and people could argue like, well, you could have gotten married and been where you're at without magic.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but also you didn't make that choice. So you could be
Hmm.
somewhere completely different too. If you
Hmm.
had never done wealth magic or if you had never done whatever magic rituals you had done, you know,
Hmm.
I mean, or you could be married to somebody totally different, you know,
Hmm.
and have a completely different job, you know,
Hmm.
but you're in the position that you're in because of the choices that you made. And, you know, outside of magic too. But the magic influenced also can influence the direction, like the partner that you have maybe, or even your child, even your baby.
Hmm.
Like, I
Hmm.
mean, him growing up, like I wonder, he's got to have some magical DNA in him too, you know. So we'll see how that'll unfold in
Hmm.
the future. um and you're probably not the first in your generation or in your ancestry, I guess, to have the magical DNA. I don't think I
Probably
am,
not.
you know. I mean,
Hmm.
and so it's just that strengthened belief again. So,
Hmm.
anyways, thought that would be kind of like a neat thing to conclude on, but we won't keep going. I know we could keep talking, but we can kind of conclude here and close it down.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, if anybody made it out this far, I'm glad.
Yeah,
It's
thanks so
glad.
much.
It's an honor. It's an honor for because you and I, whenever we meet in person, this goes on for hours.
Yeah, I
Whenever we're
know.
just sitting there talking, we're doing this for hours. So now we're just recording it so the world can hear us, whoever's interested. But
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
thanks for having me on. Thanks for letting me join
Yeah,
you
of
on your
course.
channel.
No, thank you. Thank you for doing this with me. It's always a pleasure. I'm glad we could hang out, that we could spitball ideas and
Hmm.
collaborate. Hopefully the our viewers enjoy this and everything, and we'll do this again. We'll do it again for sure. This won't be the last, this won't be the only video like this. So.
If the viewers of Pixie Dust channel, if you want me back, tell her.
Yeah.
Cool. All
Yeah, let
right.
me know and I'll make him
Thank
come
you.
back. So
Sounds good.
bye
Thank
guys.
you all.
Thank you
Thanks for
for
listening.
watching.
Thanks, Pixie. See
Of
ya.
course. Thank you. Bye.